We got something for you. We got something for you. You. It's something Megapod shiny. It's wrapped in Megapod plastic. Put on your Megapod jammy. It's time for Megapod-tastic. 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 Megapod-tastic.
Good morning. Welcome back to Crazy Joe's Concession Stand, the first live stream since like Memorial Day weekend, not since Dragon Con. Ever since I got back from Dragon Con, haven't done a live stream, and Dan's here.
Hey,
So that's exciting. We haven't seen you in a while.
I was gonna say,
we haven't seen you since before that even. So.
Yeah, you got me on a good night.
Excellent. I
was wondering because I knew Monday was the night, and then I never saw anything. You weren't texting me, so I said, "Oh, he must be done with it." But I'm happy to be back.
It just was. I mean, when I came back from Dragon Con, I was just, I don't know. I'm we're getting old, and that con just took so much out of me that like for 2 weeks, it's like all I wanted to do was sleep. It's wild. Wow. Like, days of walking around that con, and for weeks of sleeping afterwards. So look at this. Lil Everett's here. Yodel-a-hoo. Good to see you, Lil Everett. I saw you yodeling in Adam the Woo's comments the day Adam and the Philly captain and Tampa J and I went for cheesesteaks. So yeah, it went noticed, man. Saw you yodeling. Chan Talks More Movies is here. Good to see you. And says, how are you guys? Oh, okay. I misread that. I thought in the sidebar that Chan Talks More Movies had said, are you guys still doing it tonight? Which I thought was interesting because we're live. So we are. But I had misread it. He said, how you doing? I'm doing good, Chan. How are you?
I'm well also.
I feel like there's a lot to talk about. It's been an interesting week for movies. And,
yes. I did not watch your review yet, but I saw your Letterboxd grade for Joker. And I put my video up today on my channel. I saw it yesterday, so
I haven't seen yours yet.
I just posted it this afternoon. So,
before we talk about Joker, I don't know. I sent the invite to a couple other people. Perp has the invite. Noah has the invite, and I don't know if he's going to make it. He's a very busy guy, but I also sent the invite to Heath from Serial at Midnight because I've been really itching to get Heath and Perp on a stream together because those guys, I got to tell you, of everybody I know, if I know two people in this YouTube space who are just devoted to cinema, it's Perp and Heath, and they've never met. And I'm like, I got to get these two together. These guys are like,
make the connection.
But he's a busy guy. I don't know if he's going to make it tonight, but and it's like very short notice. But okay, so I saw this the other day, and I mentioned it on the Mad Max stream the other night, but I want to share it here because I think it is really worth talking about. Bill Hunt, you're a big DVD Blu-ray collector. Mm-hmm. Are you familiar with the website The Digital Bits?
I've heard of it. I don't know that I've ever been on it.
All right. Since the 90s, The Digital Bits has been the go-to website for news on what's coming to DVD, Blu-ray, 4K. It's sort of been the hub of all physical media chat since like 1997. And wow. Bill Hunt is the guy who has all this time for like 25 or more years been running The Digital Bits. So I'm friends with him on Facebook. Never met him, but I'm friends with him on Facebook. I follow him on Twitter. And he put this post up the other day that really is worth looking at. It's really worth sharing, I think. And now I can't find his post. Where is it? Chrome tab. There it is. Okay. All right. We read this on Max's stream the other night, but I want to share it here. Okay. The print's a little small, so I will read it to you. He writes, as someone who likes to shoot straight, I'm not going to lie. I find it irritating and disappointing listening to the smug, cynical, even gleeful tone of too many film critics, both professional and fanatic, who are currently holding forth online about the failures of Francis Ford Coppola's Megalopolis and Todd Phillips' Joker Folie à Deux. Now, I haven't seen the films myself. Life's been a bitch in the last few weeks, and I haven't had the time. So I don't know whether I personally enjoy these films or not. But the truth is, I don't care. I'm just glad they exist. I'm glad to know we still live in a world where daring filmmakers who both earned our respect, I might add, have the courage, means, and wherewithal to toss their hats over the wall in the service of creating something daring, personal, and visionary. Whether anyone else likes it or not, that simple act ought to be celebrated, not scorned. When did we become a culture of judgmental ninnies who find parasitic joy in the perceived failure of others? Until you've attempted to do something yourself, until you attempted to do something bold yourself and failed publicly, as does every single person who's ever tried to create anything of worth for public consumption, at least a few times before they eventually succeed, it's worth keeping in mind that no art we truly love comes without risk and sacrifice and blood and sweat and tears. To make a great film or any kind of great art, you have to have skin in the game. And it's very easy to mock that art or that artist when the skin ain't yours. Brothers and sisters, nobody says you have to like this work, but when you presume to tell everyone else that you don't for a living, at least try to do it with a little respect. Um, this really spoke to me. I retweeted it. I agree fully.
I was going to say you've had a lot of these same feelings over the last, let's say, year or two, when all of these people are hoping for things to fail or whatever. I've definitely seen you rant on about this as well.
Yeah, no, this really speaks to me. Now, let me tell you, I saw Megalopolis. I hated Megalopolis.
I almost went to see it today. If I knew we were doing a stream, I might have forced myself to do it, but probably later this week I will see it.
Look, I don't like the movie. I do not like Megalopolis at all. I think it's pretty terrible. But I keep telling people it's worth seeing. It's worth seeing because this is a filmmaker who has earned our respect, who has made great films, and he put his all into this thing. He self-financed it. This he was so passionate about this, it's out of pocket. Now look, whether I like it or not, this is an interesting movie. It is an interesting movie. I think it's a movie that is worth watching just to get, because you don't know what your opinion's going to be. I could tell you I didn't like it. 12 other critics could say they didn't like it, and it might connect with you. It's worth checking out and seeing, because you're not going to know.
Joe. There's another one in this mix too. Maybe not quite on the level as these two films, but Kevin Costner put his own money up for that Horizon, which I haven't seen yet. I know it just started airing on one of the streamers, Peacock or Max or something.
I think it's on Max.
Okay. So I definitely want to get to it. But that was supposed to be like a 4-part saga and all of this. And by all accounts, the first part is pretty decent. But it was almost 3 hours and whatever. So I didn't get to the theater to see it. But yeah, that's another one. I mean, he put his own money on the line for this movie, and people were happy to say that, oh, it only made whatever 9 million opening weekend or whatever. Ha ha, what a joke. Da 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 da. But look, maybe it's not a very original movie. I haven't seen it. It's a Western, so it's probably got a lot of the same tropes. But look, God bless him for having the wherewithal to have this huge vision. Obviously, he's very hot coming off of Yellowstone. And following it through and convincing distributors to put out this movie that maybe people liked. I don't know. It didn't do very well.
Like I mentioned, I sent the link to Serial at Midnight. Heath at Serial at Midnight. Heath loved Horizon. He was singing that movie's praises.
There you go. And I know someone else personally that loved it.
Now I could tell you from day one, like I always knew that wasn't a movie for me. I'm not, I know some people who are like, I will never watch a Western. I hate Westerns. I'm not that guy. I'll watch a Western, but Westerns are not my top genre. I'm
with you on that.
I'm not particularly a Kevin Costner fan. You know, you name all the top Kevin Costner movies, Dances with Wolves, Field of Dreams. I'm the guy who's like, yeah, they're okay. I know people are passionate about those movies. People love those movies. I'm not going to knock them, but they don't really connect to me. I know what I like, and Horizon wasn't something Horizon could be great, it could be terrible, but it was never going to be something that excited me.
Yeah.
But I don't like the idea. By the way, Noah's in the chat. Good to see you, Noah. Noah, we'd love to have you on the panel
Oh,
if
hi,
you can make
Noah.
it. Yeah, we'd love to have you here, Noah. But I don't like this idea of celebrating failure,
Right.
especially when people are trying to make something interesting. Now, I brought this up on Max's stream the other day, and Anthony Cheeseman in the comments wrote, "We shouldn't praise a movie, or we shouldn't be afraid to say we don't like a movie just because people worked hard to make it. That doesn't mean that it's going to be good." And I said, Anthony, I agree fully with what you're saying, but I think you're missing the point. This isn't about saying you have to like these movies because people worked hard on them. Nobody is saying that. Nobody is saying you are required to like this because Francis Ford Coppola worked so hard on that, so you must like it. Nobody's saying that. I am here to tell you I hated Megalopolis. What I'm saying is, why are we celebrating a man's failure?
Mm-hmm.
If you didn't like it, you could walk out and say, hey, that wasn't for me. But you also know another guy cashed in all his chips to make this movie.
Right.
Can't we at least tip the hat to him and say, hey, sorry, that didn't work out. You know, good effort. You know, like we're telling people, we're sending a message that it's not worth taking a chance. It's not worth trying something. Like another one that killed me this year was Madam Web. I don't know what you thought of Madam Web, love it, hate it, but I was very, very upset about the narrative going into that movie where people were like, this movie's going to be garbage. It's going to be garbage. It's going to be trash. And it's like, you know, Madam Web, it's not a great movie. It's not as bad as people say either. But it's not that bad. It's not that great. It's pretty average. But it's an interesting movie again, because here's a movie that's a superhero movie. It doesn't really have a superhero in it. It's like, hey, we're going to kind of do a movie in that superhero world, but we're not going to put a superhero in it. It's a movie that took a risk, tried something different. And we celebrate that film's failure. And I always tell people when it was Fox, before Disney bought Fox, when it was Fox making superhero movies about the X-Men, and Warner was making the DC movies, and Disney was making the Marvel movies. It was exciting having Fox making those X-Men movies because they were the wild card.
Mm-hmm.
They were the ones that were like, we don't have the full stable of Marvel and DC characters. We've only got these few characters. So we're going to take risks. We're going to try some different things. We're going to do some things that DC and Marvel aren't doing because they're risky. We're going to give you an R-rated movie. We're going to make Deadpool rated R. We're going to make Logan rated R. It didn't work. Sometimes it works out. Sometimes it doesn't. We're going to do the New Mutants. We're going to make New Mutants into a horror film. We're going to try a different genre with superheroes. A lot of big swings. And I think those big swings help the genre. They help move it forward. Like obviously now Disney's making these movies and they gave us an R-rated Deadpool and Wolverine. That wouldn't have happened if Fox hadn't Disney wouldn't have taken that risk on their own. Fox had to blaze the trail there. So when we look at what Sony's doing and root for them to fail, I think that's a horrible mistake. I think that's a terrible mistake.
Yeah,
Now,
look,
maybe
I don't agree with your stance on Madam Web. I think it's easily one of the worst movies of the decade. I hated it, but the fact that it was a box office failure, I wasn't cheering in the streets for that. I think anytime people are getting out and going to the movies is good for the movies. It's good for the industry.
oh yeah.
So to run down the street chanting, oh, this movie bombed, this movie was horrible, da 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 da, and Borderlands was another one. Look, I thought Borderlands was okay. I gave it a C. I think it was all right. But everyone seemed to be just. And look, I'm not much of a gamer, so maybe the gamers had more invested in it, whatever. But I thought it was a completely okay movie. But boy, everyone was so happy that that thing tanked hard. And I don't. I'm with you. I don't get that conceit. I just any failure at the box office means people are going to be releasing less movies because they're skittish now. And not that Borderlands was an original concept, obviously, but I just the more hit movies there are, the better. I thought Twisters was good, not great, but look, it was a huge smash, and God bless it for existing, because it got people in theaters and it came out the same week as Inside Out 2 or whatever, or
Yeah.
similar weeks. So that was a big boon those few weeks for the industry, and that was awesome.
Yeah, I always go back to The Nun 2. I hated the Nun movies. I thought The Nun was terrible. I
Yeah,
thought The
they
Nun
weren't
2
good.
was even worse. But people went out to see The Nun 2. And I told someone, I'm like, look, hey, that's a horrible movie. But I'm glad to see people are going to see it because it's good for the industry. It's good
Right.
for the theaters. I don't know. I don't like this. I don't like this whole thing with let's celebrate the
Well,
fair. And
everybody
some
has
of
to
it,
be a jerk, Joe. Everybody,
well,
everybody. It's cool to be cynical. It's cool to be,
well,
let's laugh at everybody's failures. And I
well,
don't know.
some of it comes from this so-called culture war. I say so-called because I believe it's pretty manufactured. I don't believe it's real.
Mhm.
But like with Borderlands, I don't know the game, but I kind of gathered from just context that a lot of people were pissed off that they like gender swapped characters. I guess like apparently because it was mainly women, and I guess the game isn't mainly women, so therefore it was quote unquote woke.
Well, and they
Um,
also aged them up, from what I understand. I guess
yeah,
they're younger in the game, and Kate Blanchett is no spring
oh yeah.
chicken, so that irritated people too, I guess.
By the way, Pop Counterculture's here. Pop Counterculture loved
Oh, nice,
Megalopolis. He was crazy about it.
good.
Yeah. So
I'm
this is what I'm
excited to see
talking
it this
about.
week. I love Adam Driver, so I'll take a look and see.
This is what, yeah, and there's even good. I'll even say good things about it because Aubrey Plaza, I think, gives one of the best performances of her career in it.
Oh, love her.
And
Saw
yeah,
her in that movie.
I love her too, but she, I believe, has had a lot of trouble breaking out of that April Ludgate character. Everything she
Mhm.
does, she's kind of like a variation on April Ludgate. Even before she was April Ludgate, when she did Funny People, she was that character.
Yeah.
And I know the one time I think she took a real big attempt to get out of that was Child's Play, when she's like, I'm going to play the mom in Child's Play. And it didn't work. I just felt she was really miscast. So this is the first time I've kind of seen her break out of that character, and it works. And then what a week she's having, because in the same week she's appearing on Agatha All Along. She's in Megalopolis, and her new movie My Old Ass opened,
Oh,
which
I
is
loved it.
fantastic. Yeah, me
Yes.
too. That was a
I gave
great
that one an
movie.
A minus. It's definitely probably going to be in my top 15 or 20 of the year for sure. I loved that movie.
Yeah. So I, I guess we should talk about the segue. I showed the Twitter post, but
Sure.
I didn't care for Megalopolis. You haven't seen Megalopolis, but we've both seen the Joker.
Yes.
And I don't know what you thought of it yet. I don't like it as much as the first one, but I really liked it. I thought it was a really good follow up to the first movie. One of the most baffling things I've heard. And I keep saying to people, look, film's subjective. You could like the movie, you can dislike the movie. That's fine. But I find it objectively false when people say, I hear people saying it undermined the original film. How?
Okay. I
I don't see that at all.
I didn't I did my review today, and I did not use the word undermine, but I did say something similar. But here's and I can't say why really without talking about spoilers. Um but I will say I didn't like the first movie as much as everyone else. Everyone else was just, obsessed with that movie. I gave it a B. I thought it had an amazing performance from Joaquin Phoenix. But I thought it had a lot of issues. This one I do think is a little worse, but I really, because of all the negativity from the Rotten Tomatoes and all the critics and everything, I really went into this movie thinking I was going to absolutely hate it, and I didn't. I gave it a C minus, even teetered on a C. I think it's all right. There's definitely things I liked about it, and there are absolutely things I did not like about it. I think you're a little higher than me because your letterbox was 3 stars, right?
Yeah, and I
Yeah,
actually
mine was
thought I
2.
should. I thought I should maybe bump it up to 3.5. I think I might have been
Okay.
a little low on it because
What did
it.
you think of the first one? Love?
The first one I think I gave 5 stars to. Like I
Okay.
loved the first one, and
Yeah,
this
and
one
many did. I know I'm a little bit in the minority on that.
I'm not terribly far off on this one. I liked this one a lot. To me, I compared it to The Godfather Part Two because I felt like it's such a logical extension of the first film. Like everything in this movie is organically grown out of the first movie. Like, where are you going to take the story? Well, of course you're going to take it to the trial. And then the idea of making it a musical, man, talking about taking a big swing there. But when you're dealing with a character like the Joker, uh, it works. It just works. In fact, my only complaint was that I felt too many of the musical numbers were not grand enough. Like I felt like if you're going to do a musical, I'd rather you commit to it. There were a few really good big production numbers, but there were also too many scenes, I think, of Phoenix and Lady Gaga kind of quietly singing under their breath. I
Right.
keep calling it
I
the
agree.
La La Land effect. I don't like
Yes.
the singing in La La Land either.
Which is funny
And
because both movies they sang on the day. They didn't do a track. So in both this and La La Land, they sang on the day. So maybe
really,
that's just what we get
okay,
sometimes. Now
yeah,
I
I
read
don't
that.
know.
I read that Gaga was very resolute in that. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but that's what I had read.
Yeah, I wish the musical number, like I keep saying, Star Trek: Strange New World did a better musical because they committed to the musical. Like every number in Star Trek: Strange New World in the episode Subspace Race. Did you see that, by the way, the musical Star Trek
I
episode?
I did not actually.
Oh God, it's so good. It is so
Okay.
good. We have the soundtrack. We listen to it. My
Nice.
kid, yeah, it's wonderful. Uh, so yeah, that was my only real major complaint. Is I wish the music had been bigger, grander. Give us big, giant production numbers. I take it there. Um, and I felt like too often they didn't. But
Yeah, I think the
uh,
music is probably my biggest problem with it as well. Here's what I think people were thrown off about. Like Joe, I think you and I like to go into movies with open minds and let's see what happens. I think a lot of people may have been put off by this not really being very action heavy, or there's not a lot of big grand moments, because like you said, it is more about a courtroom trial and his tribulations with the guards at Arkham and all of that. I wonder if maybe people were thrown off by that, or I
well,
never saw a trailer for the movie. I don't watch trailers, so I went into it just okay. I saw the Rotten Tomatoes score. I said, well, this might not be so good. Um, but I ended up thinking, okay, well, that was an all right movie. And since I didn't like the first one that much, to me, this is not that far of a cry from the first one. So I think in line with your grade for the first one and second one, I think we're on the same level. I just like them both a bit less. But yeah, I don't think this is a massive step down from the first one.
yeah, no, it really isn't. And the first one, you say there's no big action scenes. There weren't in the first one either. The first one
Well, but at least
was
there were a lot
more
of
of a
killings,
yeah,
I
but it was more of
guess.
a psychological film, I believe.
Yes, yes, that's true.
These were never like superhero movies. These were
Right.
never intended to be that. They were never sold as that. So I don't know. To me, one of the oddest things, and I was talking about this yesterday too. It reminds me of another movie. I'll tell you what movie it reminds me of in a second.
Okay.
Um, Nobody went to see it, and I find that really interesting. It opened so low, nobody went to see it. The last one made $1 billion, and people who aren't well versed in cinema. The average, guy down the nothing wrong with the average guy down the street, but you'll often hear people go, "Well, yeah, no one saw it because it sucked." or something like that. And it's like, well, that's not how it works.
Right.
Because to know that it sucked, you had to see it.
Right.
You know, it's like the average movie that people like a blockbuster like that there's interest in. People will go see it opening weekend. Word of mouth will get out. People will be like, "Yo, dude, that wasn't good." But occasionally you'll get a movie where people don't even show up on opening weekend. So you're like, "Well, these people didn't know they don't like it yet."
Right.
Because they
They're
didn't
just
see it.
they're assuming or they're hearing.
So
Well,
something kept them out of that theater, and I find that really interesting for a $1 billion movie. That the sequel, something just,
and
and
it
I
can't be all the reviews, because Transformers 1 had great reviews and nobody saw that either.
yeah,
So it can't be just people, looking at the review. Oh, I'm not going
yeah,
to go see the Joker. The reviews are bad. Well, the reviews were excellent for Transformers. That's a big
yeah.
franchise. Why didn't anybody see that? I don't know.
Well, it's like months ago, somebody in my chat said it's really simple. If you make a good movie, people will go see it. And I said, no, that's never been true. That has
Right.
never been true. Some of the biggest classics of all times, like The Wizard of Oz, Citizen Kane, It's a Wonderful Life, The Big Lebowski, box office bombs. They found their audience years later on television and in video rentals, and it's never been true that if you make something good, people will just go see it. That's never been the case.
Right.
I want to catch up with the chat a little bit here.
Sure.
Hunter Iggy says, question, what percentage do you see Glenn Powell as Batman? I gotta be honest, I don't really even know who Glenn Powell is. Like, I
Glenn
can't picture him
Powell
in my head. I know
is,
who he is, but
yeah,
I
you know who he
can't.
is, right?
I know who he is, but like, if I close my eyes and try to picture Glenn Powell, I can't even picture him. Like, he's that
Okay.
much of a like. Only movie I've
I
seen
will
with him
answer
is
this
Maverick.
question. I'll
Okay.
answer this question this way. I don't think that's a terrible Batman by any means, but he has been attached now to like 5 or 6 remakes, reboots, sequels. Top Gun Maverick, Twisters. I just heard he was going to be in. I can't think of it now. Something else that's like another remake. I would love to see him do his own thing, because I loved his movie Hitman on Netflix this year. I thought the rom com he did with Sydney Sweeney was really good. So I would love for him to stay away from Batman, just because he's getting pigeonholed as the reboot dude.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So that's my take
Fair
on that.
enough.
It's an interesting thought, though.
And Hunter also says people are blaming James Gunn for Joker 2's failure. Well, that's just stupid.
Well, I read that he saw like a rough copy or whatever, and gave his notes. But I didn't read any follow up if they took his notes or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, he didn't direct it, and he's not. I don't even think producing it, right? So
yeah, it's not even under the DC Studios label, so it's like, yeah,
right.
he literally has nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
James Borland's here. James, good to see you. Do you guys remember the
Hey,
backlash
James.
of Sonic 4, where people started a petition for Sega to put classic Sonic in? No, I don't know this at all. I'm not familiar with this.
Sonic 4, Sonic 3 is not even out yet. That comes out Christmas.
I guess he must mean the video game.
Oh, okay. I don't know anything about that.
Hang on a second. I gotta respond to my daughter. She's texting me from upstairs. When you come upstairs, turn the light off. Okay.
As far as Sonic goes, while you're working on that, Joe, I really enjoy the Sonic movies. I think if this is, Jim Carrey's kind of goodbye to the industry or whatever, I love him as Dr. Robotnik. I've loved those first 2 movies. Excited for the third one to come out. So that's where I stand on
that. Quality says how. Oh, I can't highlight it. Geez, I'm trying to highlight one. Skullman says, how about watch quality films like Substance instead? Well, I saw The Substance. Substance is good.
I also watched The Substance. Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah. Substance is good. Joker's good. Transformers 2 is good. A lot of good movies out right now. Lisa says, hey, Joe and Dan, what did I miss? We're just talking about the movies like we do. But yeah, pop counterculture says his brothers didn't even know it was a musical, so that's interesting.
Well, that has been a trend lately with the studios, because the Wonka trailers kind of downplayed the music part. The new Mean Girls kind of downplayed the music part. I guess maybe musicals don't sell tickets, which I think is historically wrong. But I don't know. It would make sense to me that they, and Warner Brothers I think did also produce. Did they do Wonka? I think they did.
Yeah, yeah.
So
And the
maybe that's
weird thing
just their
is,
MO.
audiences really like musicals. Like,
That's what I don't get. I don't understand why they are downplaying it. I guess there's some research or something that people won't go to a
yeah,
movie unless if it's
but it's like, oh, Dan, we lost you. We lost you, Dan. All right, well, hopefully Dan comes back to us. Reggie's here. Good to see you, Reggie. I always hate when people badmouth films before they even come out. For example, the recent Halloween films or the latest Crow film. I agree. You don't know. You gotta watch these movies first before you know if they're any good. We lost Dan completely. Hopefully, Dan will be back. That's a shame. We had a good conversation going there. What is going on here? I got a message and I was hoping it was Dan telling me what happened. So, oh, here he comes.
Yeah, sorry. I got a phone call and I declined it, and then my picture went away and the audio went away. I don't know what happened. Sorry.
Okay, now look, Skullman says something. This is a perfect example. This is a perfect example because this is another thing. Like I said, if you like the movie, don't like the movie, that's fine. But Skullman, I'm sorry, but I say this respectfully. This is a ridiculous statement. I guess that's supposed to say Joker. It says Coker. Fully a dud is the worst movie Hollywood's released since Super Babies, Baby Geniuses. Like, that's a ridiculous statement. I mean, like, this movie, I don't know if you saw this, it's got the lowest score of any like superhero comic book film in history on Cinema Score with a D. Like, nothing's, and you look at something like this, and this is, love it or hate it, this is far superior.
I don't even think it would make my bottom 10 superhero.
Yeah, like you look at like a Batman and Robin. That's a horrible movie. I can't think of much good to say about that movie. This is a far superior film to that. And then you look at something like I'm blanking, of course, now.
We always have opposite views on superhero movies, but I think the Miles Teller Fantastic Four is one of the worst superhero movies.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's a horrible film. That's a horrible film. This is so I think people are overdoing it with the hatred for this film. And again, it's weird because it's like, where's this coming from? Where is this coming from? Because this movie, even if you don't like it that much, it's certainly not that bad.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's really weird. It's like this movie poured sugar in their gas tank and assaulted their mom or something. It's weird. James Borland says what we need are more experimental animated films that aren't trying to be Disney or too hard to be Pixar or DreamWorks. Sure. Speaking of animated films, Dan, have you seen The Wild Robot?
You know what? I haven't gotten my review up yet, but I saw it last week, and I mean, for me, it is far and away the best animated film of the year. I thought it was phenomenal, and I wasn't familiar with the book at all.
Yeah,
so I
me
don't
neither.
know, how close it was to that or whatever. But my God, what a movie!
Yeah, it's not only the best animated film of the year, it's one of the best movies of the year, and it's probably one of the best.
It's certainly in my top 10.
Yeah, it's probably one of the best animated films in years. Like, it's just phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
All right, here's a question for you. Now this one we may not be able to talk about because I know it hasn't opened fully wide yet, and I don't know if you've seen it, but have you seen Jason Reitman's Saturday Night?
I have not. It's coming here Friday for the first time. And I can't wait. I'm gonna try and see it Friday afternoon before work.
Noah's got a chainsaw.
God. Oh,
Happy
Lord.
Halloween.
I know.
Happy Halloween. Good to see you.
Yikes.
Uh,
Yikes.
Welcome to the party.
How's it going, Noah?
Guys, I would have been here earlier, but I had to put my dog to bed, and he has a schedule, 10:30.
Fair enough.
But it's going
I
good.
understand.
Yes, I'm very excited for Saturday night. Obviously, a touchstone for Joe and I growing up, and for millions and millions of people. And I love Jason Reitman's movies. I don't think he's made one that I've given a negative grade to. He's got some of my favorites, so I'm very excited.
Yeah, I think my least favorite movie of his is probably his most famous,
Juno.
And I don't dislike
I
Juno.
love
See,
Juno. Oh,
I don't dislike that movie at all. It's just that I like Thank You for Smoking better.
Yeah.
And I come on, look, Ghostbusters. Look, you're tugging at the heartstrings, but I grew up with
Right.
it. It's like,
yeah.
So,
Ghostbusters good. Young Adult I really liked with Charlize Theron.
yeah, I
So-
gotta watch that again. I haven't seen it since it originally came out, but I liked
God.
that movie.
That was one of my favorites the year that came out. So
Did he-
I'm
did he
excited
make
to see what he
Tully?
does.
Did he do
Yeah.
Tully?
He
I
did
didn't
do
see
Tully, and that was
I didn't.
that was a
That's
good
the
one
one
too.
I haven't seen.
I
Okay.
love Tully. That was really
I gave
good.
that an A-. Yeah, I liked it as well.
Well, Dan, I think you're going to be very pleased with Saturday Night. I really
You
like
got to
Saturday
see it
Night.
already. Good job.
Yeah, they've been doing a staggered release. Like it started
Yeah.
releasing, I think, the last week of September, but they just keep adding theaters, and it's playing at King of Prussia. But it's only playing at King of
okay.
Prussia in this
Yeah.
area.
Yeah.
It's going to go wide on Thursday night, but
Mhm.
and Noah, I don't mean to, both Noah and most of the viewers, I don't mean to leave you guys out in the cold here, because I am going to talk local for a second here. But Dan, I got to tell you,
Tell me.
the King of Prussia Regal Movie Theater,
Yeah.
dude, I don't know what happened there. I don't usually go there. I go to the Warrington Movie Theater. That's the one closest to my
Yeah.
house. But I had to go to King of Prussia twice in the past 2 weeks. I wanted to go see Megalopolis on the IMAX,
Okay.
and they were the only ones showing Saturday night. So both of those screenings, last week Megalopolis, this week Saturday night, that theater is infested with mice.
Really?
Just absolutely,
Okay.
totally infested. In Megalopolis, 3 mice ran by me. At
Wow.
least 4 ran by me on Saturday night. And then I started playing with them. I started playing with the mice on Saturday night because I just wanted to know. I just wanted to see. So like the mice kept running by, and I'm sitting there, and there's a little patch of carpet in front of me that the light was shining on just right. So I took a piece of popcorn and I put it down, and I sat back and waited.
Wow.
10 minutes. 10
They all
minutes.
came.
Mouse comes out, grabs it, and runs.
Wow.
And I'm like, did it again. And I'm like, this is insane.
Well, I will say I was there twice last year. I saw Oppenheimer in the IMAX, and then I saw it again on the 35 millimeter print, or 70 millimeter, or whatever it was. And I didn't have any mice issues. So I can't speak to that, but maybe that's a newer development for them.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know, but they got to do something about it. It's really bad. They're
Yeah, it's
bold
rough.
too. They are bold.
Yeah.
Those mice. So, well, that was a tangent. James Borland says, "Holy crap! I'm surprised that theater wasn't shut down for a rat infestation." Well, there you go. And Skullman again. I don't know if I'm actually starting to wonder if Skullman's doing a bit here. Like, I actually don't know if he's serious. Like, this might be a bit, because he's saying that Joker is going to do damage to Joaquin Phoenix's career. No, it's not. He's an Oscar winner. This isn't going to move the needle one way or the other. He's just going to go on to the next movie, and everything's going to be
Yeah, I don't think it's really going to affect him that much.
No, it's not.
Oh, here we go. James says people need to stop weaponizing some films as the spawn of Satan. Next thing you'll know, people will say Joker 2 is worse than Food Fight, an infamous animated film. Oh my lord, have you guys seen Food Fight?
Oh,
Are you
God.
Are you guys
I'm not
familiar with Food Fight?
I was an asshole, so I bought that DVD, one for me and one for a friend, and I sent it to Kyle. and all he said was, "How big of you?" That movie is awful, but it's so bad it's one to be seen. I mean, the animation isn't finished, the script is awful, the voice acting is some of the worst I've ever seen put to film. It's one of the worst movies ever made, but it's one you have to see.
Yes, I own it on digital. Like I don't have a physical copy of it, but I do own it on digital. I'm trying to pull up the movie poster here for Dan. This
Is
movie,
recent? Like what era are we talking about here?
oh no, it's probably about, is it 20 years old now? Like early
Okay.
2000s?
Oh no, that's only a decade.
Oh really?
This thing was like 2014, I think.
Okay.
All right.
I think. Yep.
Yeah, this is an animated film
God.
starring Charlie the Tuna, the Vlasic Stork, Twinkie the Kid, Mr. Clean, Mrs. Butterworth, Punchy the
And none of them
California
look like
Raisins. Yeah, like it's just they got the rights apparently to
I was gonna say,
a
how'd they
bunch
get all
of.
the rights to these characters?
Well, I mean, it probably wasn't hard. This is advertising for their products.
I suppose that's true. Huh.
But then they got like big names like Charlie Sheen, Eva Longoria, and it's one of the worst animated things ever made. It's just horrible. So
that sounds horrible.
Yeah, but
and it's only like 80 minutes too. So yeah. I mean, they didn't even try.
It's also wonderful though. Like I mean, it's horrible, but it's wonderful. So
it has to be seen.
Lisa says your review of Saturday Night makes me sad towards how you say, oh yeah, well, I don't want to get into spoilers, but I don't guess this isn't a spoiler. I was not happy with the characterization of Jim Henson in the movie. Like I felt like they were kind of they were making Jim Henson out to be like he was kind of like dopey or wasn't really like like there was like some sexual things, and like Jim Henson says like I got a note that says this, and then he goes, I know what that means. And it's like, well, of course he would know what that means. Like, why are you making it like he's fine? I don't know. Like I just it's a good movie, but if I had one critique, it was that they really did a terrible job, I think, with Henson's characterization. Skullman says, read my comment about the Smiths. I did. So well, Noah, we were talking about Joker 2 before you got here. Have you seen it?
I haven't yet. I meant to go today. I got out of work late, but I'm going on Thursday. So I haven't been to the theater in a while. Work's just been nuts.
I'm curious to hear your thoughts. So
I was told I'm going to love it because I'm a musical guy.
Okay.
And those are very easy for me to like. The past few years, a musical has been my favorite film of the year. So last year it was Wonka.
Wonka
the year that
so
this came out, it was my favorite movie of that year. So if it's a musical, there's a good chance I'm going to love it. But
yeah, I was saying to Dan, my only complaint was that they didn't lean enough into the musical. Like I wish the production numbers had been bigger, grander, but I like the movie. I think it's quite good. So, you know what? It's a think piece. Like that's the thing. This is one of those movies. Like I said, I bumped it up from 3 stars to 3.5 because I kept thinking about it. And the movies that have really gotten in my head like that are Joker this year, are Joker 2. I Saw the TV Glow, and The Substance. Those are the 3 movies that like stuck with me, and I just kept thinking about them.
Joe, I was thinking about you because I saw the TV Glow is on. Is it Max?
Yes.
It's on something.
Yeah.
So I have to finally sit down and watch that.
I really look forward to hearing what you think of it because it's an interesting movie. Like I loved it. Dave Perillo hated it, and he thought I was trolling him. Like he thought it was a bit I was doing, like to try to make him sit through a bad movie. And here's a guy who really appreciates I Saw the TV Glow. Here's a guy who loves it. Little movie perp.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi guys.
Look
Hello,
at
chat.
this. Look at that. The crew is here.
Wow.
I was trying to orchestrate Perp. I was trying to orchestrate getting you and Cyril at midnight together on a stream because I think
That'd be
you guys
nice.
would really get along. But I sent him an invite and he wrote back, "Can't make it tonight." Because he Mr. Big Time. I'm not making fun of him. I love the guy. But Mr. Big Time, he actually records audio commentaries for DVDs and Blu-rays. So apparently he's
That's
recording
awesome.
a commentary tonight.
Awesome.
So yeah. So what about you guys? You guys got anything you want that you've seen you want to talk about?
There's one that I just saw that everybody loved, and it's on Netflix. It's called It's What's Inside. It's like a body swapping comedy. So these 20-somethings, they're at a party, and this one guy, without getting into spoilers, has this thing that makes them swap bodies. And it's basically them finding out different things about the other. Truths come about. They cheat on each other, and it's twists and turns. I thought it got too repetitive. I thought the script was very uninteresting and unoriginal. I've seen that done multiple times a lot better. But if they leaned more into the comedy aspect like they should have, instead of the dramedy, then it would have worked a lot better. If they didn't take it so... They didn't take themselves seriously at all. If they would have leaned into it like, oh, you're this person. Joke. Instead, it's, did you hear what she said about you? Oh, let's screw up this famous influencer's page and say she's a sexist and a racist and stuff like that. That's the drama in the entire movie.
The person's an influencer in the movie.
Yep, she has like millions and millions of followers.
That is about the most tired trope. Every single GD movie the last like 3 years, the young person is an influencer. I'm so sick of that. I will watch this movie if people are loving it. I always try to catch the Netflix originals, but boy, I am so sick of that bit.
Everybody loved it. And I saw it. I went, what do they love about this? I'm glad they love it. Don't get me wrong. It's just not for me. But I've seen that trope done a lot better. Mm-hmm. With that influencer, they do it in a way where they swap bodies. Everybody at that party is in a different body. This one woman was the ex-girlfriend of this person who's now dating him. So she goes, well, I don't like you and what you stand for, yada, yada, yada. So she records this video saying all these sexist and racist things. And she's about, it's literally her just about to click the post button. And that's the most dramatic scene in the entire movie. That is not involving a character's death. It's one that looked interesting. They didn't do enough with the comedy or with the story to suck me in. But I'm glad everyone else is loving it. I just wish I did the same way.
Yeah, I haven't heard of that one.
Yeah, that's new to me. Joe, we talked about the movies that I care about: Wild Robot and Joker. I saw like 3 other movies last week, but those were the ones I definitely wanted to hit. So,
James Borland has a question. Anybody see the Garbage Pail Kids movie? I'm surprised I enjoyed it. Yeah, 80s cheese and gross out isn't effective, but it's way ahead of its time. I remember watching the Garbage Pail Kids movie when it first hit VHS back in the day, and that's a
Perp classic for me.
You like that one?
Sort of.
I think I saw it maybe on TV or something, but yeah, it was probably 35 plus years ago. I
can't do anything.
Cheesy.
Oh, I know the song, dude. It's still stuck in my head. We can't do anything by working with each other, and then one of them starts rapping.
I think Dan got another phone call. Dan went black and disappeared on us before, and apparently someone called him on his phone. So, there he is. Okay.
Hello.
Oh no,
Nope.
he's going again.
Hello.
There is one film that I think nobody is talking about that needs to be seen.
Killer's Game.
I want to see that one. I'm not gonna lie. I think that looks like a lot of fun. It looks up my alley. But it is a Megan Fox film, Subservience.
I haven't heard of this.
Yeah, the robot one.
Is
Yeah.
it theatrical or streaming?
Streaming.
It went to theaters, but it's on. I think it's on streaming now.
Yeah, it's on streaming now. It's from a good director. They actually worked together before in the film Till Death, where she's
Yeah.
like chained up with the dead husband, and these guys are breaking in, and she has to deal with that while dealing with being chained up to her dead husband. It's really, really cool. So I might check it out just because I did like their last offering. So, and she seems to like working with this guy.
This one's a bit different though. She's a AI bot who's basically a mom, right? But it's the same story. She falls in love with her owner, and they have this affair. Except this time, the performance is actually good. She's really strong in this. There was a film that came out in 2022 that had a very similar story to it called
Wife Like. I've
Yep.
seen that one with Jonathan Rhys Meyers. Yeah.
Yep. Very similar. This one, I hate to say it, this might be Megan Fox's best performance besides Till Death.
Yeah. I think they work. This director they work good together. They work really good together. So I'm definitely going to see this one.
He gets the best. I don't know why, but every other film I've seen her in has been god awful, except for probably Till Death and what's that one?
Jennifer's Body.
Yep.
Now, Jennifer's Body is an interesting one because that movie has had a real revival. I remember when it came out, like nobody liked that movie. Everybody just hated Jennifer's Body. And then suddenly, some years down the line, suddenly it's this cult hit. I think I need to see it again because I remember not liking it. And I don't know. I have it on Blu-ray because it came. It's a double disc with Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So I'm like, I love Buffy. So I actually own Jennifer's Body. I got to give that a rewatch.
It's pretty good. It's pretty fun.
You know what? Where Megan Fox really won me over because people were
Jonah
like,
Hex.
No, not Jonah Hex.
What are you doing here, Jonah Hex?
Jonah Hex, man, Dan's having trouble. This is a shame. But people throughout the early 2000s after Transformers just loved to just trash Megan Fox. Megan Fox is the worst. She's horrible, blah, 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 blah. And I always thought people were just, a little harsh on her, but I didn't think she was that great either. Where she really won me over was on New Girl, the Zooey Deschanel series, because she took over for Zooey Deschanel when Zooey Deschanel was pregnant and had to leave the show temporarily. And Dan had to go.
Hi, Dan.
All right, Dan, if you're still watching, we're sorry to see you go, but please join us again in the future. But yeah, no, that's where Megan Fox won me over when she was the temporary lead on New Girl while Zooey Deschanel was having a baby. And she revealed she has comedy chops and she could headline a sitcom. So
Based. I saw a couple. Okay, today was my cheat day. Okay, what do I mean by that? I didn't watch that many horror films, but I did see a couple horror films the other day that I want to bring up. Joe, have you heard of Operation Blood Hunt?
I don't think so.
Well, me and Noah just mentioned this movie called Wife Like, and in it had Jonathan Rhys Meyers. You heard of that guy?
Yeah.
All right. So Operation Blood Hunt stars this Jonathan Rhys Meyers and Rampage Jackson. Do you know who that is?
Yeah, he played B.A. Baracus in the A-Team movie.
Yeah. Not great movie, by the way. I think that movie's underrated. I really like that movie. Operation Blood Hunt takes place in World War II. All right, and it involves a platoon going to an island to fight werewolves.
Oh, that
They're
sounds
fighting
great.
They're fighting werewolves, Joe.
Yep.
What's the title of this? I need to see this now.
It's very cheap, Joe. It's very cheap.
Yeah,
Some
but
movies-
werewolves.
The werewolves aren't CGI, which is always a plus when dealing with. And there's some like wire work, there's some gore, but for the most part, it is a very, very low budget movie, and you could tell. And it does, in my opinion, it does kind of a poor job on doing the whole. We take place in the 40s. Feels very modern. The music feels very modern. The costumes feel very modern. They're doing martial arts at points. It's just it's kind of a mess, but I love messes like that, especially if you're gonna do like schlock and junk. Do it like a werewolf movie that takes place, in World War II. That's the type, and it delivers in that front when it comes to the action. You see you see a couple soldiers shoot at werewolves. Where it's like that premise has been in the lexicon for how long? Since like 2007. Like I could think of a Rob Zombie. He did that trailer, Werewolf Women of the SS or whatever the hell it was called.
Yeah.
But it didn't show any werewolf action. It just shows werewolves there, and they're like, I seen a couple of these. There's another one. I don't know. I forget if it's werewolves or it's vampires. Normally they're the same because in these low budget movies, the makeup doesn't go full on usually in these type of films. But there's another one called either Third Reich, like werewolves versus Third Reichs, or the Third versus vampires. One of those. Yeah, and that one doesn't deliver on the action. This one does, again, super low budget, but it's got stuff and it's got gore. So I'm gonna recommend that one. I also saw what was that? Well, yeah, I guess you guys see the VHS movies? I think I talked about this already.
You and I talked about this the other day.
Yeah,
I've
never
seen the
mind.
first one. That's it.
Nope.
All right. Yeah, this latest one was really, really good. I enjoyed the hell out of it.
Well, werewolves, right? You brought up a werewolf movie. Well, I'm going to recommend one.
Please.
One that is super ridiculous and has a catchy theme song, and I love it. Everybody has to watch Bubba the Redneck Werewolf.
I think I've heard of that. I haven't seen it.
Werewolf. Yep. So what the story is he makes a deal with the devil, and he's the devil, so he turns the words around. He wants to be the biggest, the strongest, and hairiest man around. Well, he becomes a werewolf. So everybody who has wronged him is now on his hit list. So
that's what you do when you're a werewolf.
Well, what happens then is now, because he's the biggest man, the woman that he's been in love with for many, many years now wants him because he has a huge penis. So she leaves him. Leaves the guy that is a real hick. But the last half of the movie is him trying to get this curse and get the deal turned over by playing all these games with the devil. And basically like a drinking game and like a spicy challenge and stuff like that. It's only 80 minutes, but it's up your alley. I think you're absolutely going to love it. And it has a killer theme song. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's great. It's stupid. I love it so much.
See, this is what I thought. I just Googled it. I think it was based on a comic book.
Yep.
Because I saw somebody at a con years ago dressed like Bubba the Redneck Werewolf, and he gave me like some promotional materials for the comic. So I guess it was long before the movie came out. But
yeah, the movie came out about 2016, 2017.
I'll have to check that one out. I wrote it. I bet it's on Tubi.
I'm probably not gonna see Bubba the werewolf.
Let me. I bet you it's on Tubi.
There's 2 movies coming out tomorrow, direct to video. And,
Yeah.
Burp, you know what one of them is. You brought it to my attention.
Frankie Frico, baby, let's
yeah,
go.
Supposedly it's in theaters. It ain't in any theaters around here. But,
Yeah, it's not around me either.
Yeah. No, have you seen the trailer for Frankie Frico?
Nope.
Oh my God, it looks.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's
Looks
from the
gorgeous.
from the director of Psycho Goreman.
Oh God.
And it's like little creatures that I don't know. It's
They have a
got
phone
that-
line that you call.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's
and
got
then they turn into gremlins.
yeah. It's like a
Just ruin your-
Gremlinsy. It's got a Gremlinsy vibe, but like apparently you call them on a 900 number first, and then they come
And they're like,
get
"Do you want to
there.
party?" And they're like, "I want to party." And then they just come and wreck your house. It's awesome. It's
I
like
have
super
to rent
80s, super 80s vibe. Super 80 like it's like Gremlins, but done by full moon almost. Like
So-
that's the vibe, I guess.
So tomorrow, Frankie Frico and Hellboy the Crooked Man are both hitting digital. Hellboy the Crooked Man.
Oh my God, that one too. I need to see that one. Oh God,
I'm torn about this one because
I'm
I
basking
wanna-
in richness tomorrow.
yeah, I really want to see the Crooked Man, but yeah, it's a pain, man, because they're going direct to video with it. I really wanted to see it in theater, and it's like $20, and I'm like, do I spend $20 to buy this movie sight unseen that might be terrible? Like I have no problem dropping that kind of money on a movie I want to own, but the rental price is like what, like $5 to rent it. So I'm like, I'm paying a quarter of the price to rent it. Then if I like it and I want to own it, then I'm just paying more. So it's like, do I just hedge my bets and buy the thing? I don't know. I wish I could have seen it first. What are your thoughts?
I want to see it. The issue is I want to see what the price is to rent it first.
Yeah, let's see.
I've heard it's awful, but I want to see it.
But it's also gotten some good reviews from people who've seen it. Here's the thing. It's a very low budget film. No
Yeah,
question about that. It's a very
People
low
had
budget
fun
film.
at festivals,
But it's
supposedly.
written by the guy who created the character. So I keep
Yep.
looking at it and I'm like, ultimately, what I really want is Ron Perlman and Guillermo del Toro to make a third one. I'm not going to get that. That's what I want. I'm not going to get that. But this is a movie by the creator. I don't know. I wish I could see it before I committed to buying it. So
I think I'm excited. I'm excited to see that.
all right, Skullman says, read his comment and he will go gambling with me at the Valley Forge Casino Resort.
Which comment? You made like
I appreciate Skullman, but I do not gamble. All right, let's see. This is the most recent comment from Skullman. If Hollywood wants to make good movies again, they've been making good movies.
please.
David Lynch should direct an action film with the smarts of a Nolan film, the spectacle of a Zack Snyder film, and the
Smarts
themes
of a
of Falling Down and Nightcrawler.
What?
There you go.
Why don't you make
There's-
that movie?
There's a number of good movies out right now. Like Dan and
Mhm.
I, before you guys got here, Dan and I were talking about The Wild Robot. The Wild Robot's amazing.
Yeah.
I still haven't seen it yet. Oh,
Perp, you going to see The Wild Robot? You're not like an animated guy. Like you
Not
don't
really.
yeah.
Not particularly, no. Unless it's genre that I like, horror.
I mean, it's got a
or-
robot.
I mean, how many horror animations are out there that get in theatrical releases? Or action. I might see that anime Lord of the Rings. I might see that.
Perp, what did you think? To me, this was the stupidest like waste of resources. I didn't want, but then again, I didn't.
Oh, I
watch
could
it,
think of something
okay?
way dumber, Joe. Trust me.
Wait, I
Whatever
didn't
you
watch
got.
it. I didn't watch it, but I'm like, why did this exist? A couple of years ago,
God.
there was an animated version of Night of the Living Dead called
Yep.
like, Night of the Living Dead animated.
I'll tell you what. Oh my God.
And I'm like, wait a minute. You just took Night of the Living Dead and animated it? Like, well, we've already got Night of the Living Dead. Like, who was this for?
Yeah.
and it was awful.
It's for $1, dude. It's for $1 because Night of the Living Dead. There's no one owns the rights. There's no official rights holder.
Right.
That's why I always see it in like horror films and stuff. Like if they're gonna play a movie on TV, it's gonna be probably Night of the Living
We
Dead.
can play it here. We can play it here on
We
stream.
can literally do a watch along right now, and
Yeah.
they can't shut us down.
Right.
So yeah, I'm assuming a company said, "Hey, let's just make a quick buck," and we literally just animate Night of the Living Dead.
I don't know. Do you really think they made a buck though? Like I don't know
Did
who
you see
bought
it?
Eh,
No.
Someone had to. How much did it cost? Like $1,000 probably.
I know my old podcast co-host Jacob.
I'm thinking of remaking Night of the Living Dead through AI.
My old
A whole movie.
podcast co-host Jacob from the J2H YouTube channel.
mhm.
He reviewed it because they sent him the Blu-ray. So he didn't pay a cent for it. They just sent it to him. So the one person I know who saw it didn't pay for it. So did they make money off it?
I've seen it.
Did you pay for it?
Nope, I got it from the library.
Oh, there you go.
But
Educational.
speaking of things that have been sent to people, right? I wanted to admit something. So a movie is celebrating its 50th anniversary this year, and I've never seen it.
Okay.
I've never had the ability to. So the studio who's putting out the new 4K of this sent me a copy of it. And I want to know your guys' thoughts on it.
Okay.
But they also sent me the VHS copy of it, sealed. They
Well, that's
sent me
interesting.
the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Okay. Okay.
And this is coming from Dark Sky Selects.
Based.
But they also sent me the 4K Blu-ray 50th anniversary. Knowing my taste in films, Joe, you know that I am not a horror guy.
That's
what
right.
do you think I'm going to think about this?
That's a tough one. Texas Chainsaw Massacre is Perp. Tell me if you agree with me on this. I feel like that's a film that horror aficionados love that film.
Yeah.
But I feel
Don't
like
do it.
are you
Don't do
saying
it.
I'm wrong? Are you saying I'm wrong?
Oh, don't do it. Don't say what I think you're gonna say, Joe. Finish.
I don't think the general audience appreciates it as much.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
At least today.
Yeah, that could be true.
I think that the general audience looks at that movie and they're like, this is so low budget. And it's like, I've heard people of the younger generation, and by younger generation, I'm talking like maybe not Gen X. What's under Gen X? Millennials.
Yep.
Gen Alpha Betas.
I'm Gen X. But I've heard like the millennials. I've heard them say that.
Gen Z.
Gen Z, yeah, I've heard them
You with
say
me?
that the 2003 version, the remake, was much better. And I don't know, I don't agree with that personally, but I also get where they're coming from. Like I understand how I think that the influence of Texas Chainsaw Massacre is kind of a time and a place. And if you weren't in that time and that place, you may not get it. Now, you are a different story, though, because you're a true cinephile. You love movies. So I'm talking mostly the guy down the street who's going to go to the video store and rent a movie.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What do you think, Perp? It's kind of. Would you agree that it's kind of in the current era with the young, like, if you didn't grow up with this film, do you think it's a little divisive?
Yes, I think for the most part you are correct. I think for the next generation, seeing all its influences, I don't think they'll be able to take the pacing. However, I think there are certain scenes that once they get to, I think they'll still have impact. I.e., the dinner scene, the way that girl is screaming, it's just nerve-wracking. It's just like the like people get affected by, no matter what era, death, even in like saying in reality. I know film is an illusion, but I think Texas Chainsaw Massacre has brilliantly captured hysteria, even if it's for a moment. And I think any generation could respond to that. I think for certain scenes, I think getting there is the problem, Joe. I think getting people to stay in their seats and to pay attention so that they're immersed in to get there is the problem. But I think there's still impact, at least with the last 15 minutes, I will say.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It does.
The coolest part was, so I didn't even know that it was coming. Last Saturday, this big box showed up. So about 3 weeks before that, I emailed them. All I asked them is this going to be sent out to all the people on this list? I heard nothing back, and I saw multiple people get it. All of a sudden, this huge ass box shows up. And I'm like, what the heck's this? I didn't order nothing. So I open it up, and it comes in a big box, which I still have. It is a masterpiece. I'm keeping that box. But what shocked the hell out of me is I entered the stream with this. They sent me.
Oh yeah, you were showing us that at the beginning.
Holy crap, that is awesome, dude.
They sent me the
Good
chainsaw.
for you.
But the fun part was you open it up, and that's where the tape and the Blu-ray was.
Wow.
And I went,
That is gorgeous.
what am I going to do with this? I don't know.
Hey, forget popcorn buckets, DVD buckets.
I mean,
that's where it's at.
well,
Blu-ray,
I mean, hell,
Blu-ray and 4K buckets.
That's pretty
fun.
cool.
Hell.
I have the DVD case for Die Hard that's shaped like Nakatomi Plaza, but that's like the only one I have that's like that.
Oh my God, look at that thing. What's in there? The chainsaw?
The chainsaw was in there.
no,
And you put it
nothing.
together?
This was
Oh, wow.
just the chainsaw, and this blade was not attached to it. So, and now the bad thing is that this blade doesn't come out of it, so it's stuck. But this sucker was huge, and I kid you not, I didn't even know
Mm-hmm.
how much this thing went for until I looked it up to put the link in the video. Guess how much this thing goes for on their website to order it as an exclusive?
$250.
$299.98.
Oh my Lord. $299.98, Joe.
And I went, for Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
Yeah.
The
But
classic.
then again,
You know how important that movie is?
see that's
is.
why I'm not a horror guy. So
Well,
I
let me
know
put
it's
it to you
important.
this way. I think an easy way I always say it like this. Horror movies used to be about guys going to libraries and figuring out how we going to destroy that monster with science. It wasn't until like Texas Chainsaw Massacre that things got dirty, where it's like that brought the dirt into horror films that you see everywhere now. That brought the grime, into horror
Literally
films.
dirt.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the Star Wars of horror films. You know what I'm saying? Where it brought like it felt lived in. It felt like, oh my God, it was beyond lived in. Actually, it felt died in.
Yep. But I wasn't sure. I'm gonna watch this probably on Thursday morning on my day off.
Again, Sculptman, when he says Psycho doesn't count, no, that's what I'm saying. What was the ending of Psycho? It's a bunch of guys in suits just talking about like it was also a very clean movie. Yeah, it had a swamp, but that was filmed in a studio. It has a clean look.
Yep.
Versus the dirt and grime that is Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Well, I got to show you. This isn't as cool as that chainsaw, but I also received a classic film in the mail today. Mine is not 50 years old. Mine is 40 years old. And today, Warner Brothers just sent me the 40th anniversary 4K of Nightmare on Elm Street. So
cool.
And it's got the uncut version, which I've never seen before. So I guess I will be watching the uncut version for my review. So
beautiful.
There you go. No, it didn't come in a giant Freddy glove though. It should have. But.
So I win. No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No. I'm not shitting you. I don't know what the hell I'm gonna do with this thing, but I'm keeping it. I mean, I mean, I'm not a horror guy. I'm the rom-com guy. I'm the Christmas guy. I'm the happy, cheery film guy.
You must hate this month.
Oh, I'm not a horror guy, but I am venturing out. I've rented like 3 films in the horror genre I've never seen before. So I'm looking forward to seeing those at some point. But
There's different styles. Like there's not one type of horror film. So I think you could find something that's more or less your vibe, whether it's like the more comedy route, or not everything is the same type of horror. Some there's even debates within horror communities as like, does that even qualify as a horror film? So you'll probably find something. It's a pretty big umbrella.
Charlotte is here. Charlotte says, Crazy Joe. Thank you, Charlotte. Charlotte is too sweet. Crazy Joe is lovely. People call him crazy, but he's a great kind of crazy. Hi, Perp, Star, and Noah.
hello.
Good to see you, Charlotte. Skullman says the 03 Texas Chainsaw remake is the best of the entire franchise. Jessica Biel was hot as heck in that movie.
Disagree, but I'm glad someone likes the Michael Bay one.
Butts Unplugged says remakes are for the younger generation.
Yeah,
Sure.
that's right, Sav. That's right.
They could be.
Yeah.
But they're also for what if you didn't like the original, and you have a chance to like, oh, maybe this one will capture me. So they could be for people that didn't like the original.
Ed K wants to know if we would take the substance.
No, that seems like an absolute nightmare. No,
I don't know what the substance.
I don't want my better self coming out of my freaking back. No, that looked.
I think I am the better self.
Yeah, I am the substance. I'm superb.
Butts Unplugged says old horror movies are far better than new horror movies. I can't agree with that. I think there's good. Today's new movies are tomorrow's old classics.
Yeah, we're talking about the substance now. Like that's a great new fresh horror films.
Substance and there you go.
I saw the TV Glow's technically a horror film. Look at that. Like no one would. Some people would probably say that's not a horror film because it has kind of a soft, delicate touch to it.
I'm really interested now that it's on Max. Dan mentioned that he was going to watch it now that it's on Max. I'm really interested in hearing his perspective because while I really loved that movie and I really related to that movie, I feel like someone in the LGBT community is going to take something much deeper from it than I did. So I look forward to hearing his review.
I did finally. I saw it, right, and I'm in the middle. I don't love it. I don't hate it. I think it's fine, and I like the attempt at what they did.
Mm-hmm.
That movie really spoke to me.
I thought it was very original. It wasn't what I was expecting. And I think that's a very important movie. I think for the right type of person,
James asked if we'd rather watch Plan 9 from Outer Space or Food Fight. Pick your poison.
Plan 9 probably. Food Fight is the animated one. No, thank you.
Yeah. I'd go with Plan 9 too. Plan 9's a classic.
Yeah.
Plan 9 only because I haven't seen it.
That one also gets remade every once in a while, or like
my friend Mr. Lobo was in one of the remakes. Oh, we got to get Lobo on
better.
Here.
Oh, TV Glow was nice to look at, but the movie sucks. Yeah, it's a very divisive movie. I know within our community and spaces, it's like down the middle. Like half the people really loved it, really responded to it. Half the people did not, hated it straight up.
Anthony Cheeseman's here. Texas Chainsaw remake and the Hills Have Eyes remake were pretty good. I don't hate the Texas Chainsaw remake.
I love them both. I think Hills is a little better, but I think Texas Chainsaw is prettier to look at. I love the cinematography of that one. Other good remakes, I would say, if you it's a little more grindhousey, but the Maniac remake is so much better than it has every right to be. They completely changed it from the Maniac 1980 version, where it's like it's Elijah Wood stars as the Maniac. So already it's like they're getting kind of like not to knock the other actor, but like it's already like, okay, this is different. And it's told through the perspective of Elijah Wood. The whole thing is a POV movie. So it already like completely like, I don't know. I thought it was awesome. Really great movie. Texas Chainsaw 2 is the best. Yeah, that's true. There within the fan base, the horror community, there are people that prefer the comedy blitzo fucking crazy antics of part 2. And Dennis Hopper, of course.
Reggie says the Evil Dead remake was really good.
Yes, I agree. There hasn't been, in my opinion, a bad Evil Dead movie yet.
And Butts on Plug says the Psycho remake was bad. Hey, you know what remake?
It was 98.
You know what remake I hear is really good, and I gotta confess I've never seen it. Part of that is local pride, I think. I've never been able to watch, and I really need to because I hear it's great. I've never been able to watch the Blob remake.
I can't.
Dude, the Blob remake is amazing.
Yeah, I hear that. I hear people tell
It is
me it's great, but it's like, yeah, but it's, you know, the original Steve McQueen classic
Okay.
is a local classic. It was shot around here, and you know, there's the part
Sorry.
of me that's just
I'm
like,
sorry, Joe.
yeah, it's
You're
not
the
bad.
guy refusing. You're the guy refusing to watch John Carpenter's The Thing because the original Thing was shot.
No,
in
I've
their
seen that.
hometown.
I've seen that one.
I know, but I'm trying to make an equivalent analogy. I'm saying because let's say the Thing, the original, The Thing came from outer space, was shot in a guy's hometown, and he's like, I'm not gonna see John Carpenter's The Thing.
I would get that.
Oh,
Like
God.
if you did the
Joe,
remake,
but they're missing The Thing, and you're missing
Yeah.
the Blob.
but if you did the remake tomorrow of Rocky, and he was like from Chicago, like I don't know, I couldn't watch that. I'm sorry, I can't.
All right. The hell,
And,
Skullman? Skullman? Too much.
Lisa's never seen the original Blob, but she knows it on
TV.
Tubi TV.
It's not propaganda.
Lisa, you got to watch the Blob on Tubi TV, then get down here for Blob Fest. Check out
I
Blob
love
Fest.
the original movie.
How do you do Blobfest and you didn't even see the remake, Joe? You're such a sham.
Because I saw the original. That's where
I saw the TV glow.
I saw it glow too. Oh well, guys,
It
I
was
don't know
glowing
about,
from the Blob.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm starting to wind down. I'm starting to get the energy is dropping. So maybe
Okay.
I want to do a stream.
Mhm.
And Perp, I think this is a perfect stream for you.
Mhm.
Noah, you're certainly invited. I know horror's not your top genre, but
Mhm.
as we get closer to Halloween, I would like to do a stream where we pick the best thematically Halloweeny Halloween movies. And you know, nothing wrong with a Nightmare on Elm Street or a Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but I'd really like to pick out some movies that either take place at Halloween or they just feel more Halloweeny than a regular horror movie. Like this one just has that Halloween feel. Obviously, the 25 Halloween movies are too easy, so it's like there's not 25 of them. I was kidding, but you know,
So
like
we can't
something.
pick Rob Zombie's Halloween 2.
I mean, I'd rather you not, but you could.
And
I'm good.
I will bring
Let's
the
play this in
Halloween-
hard mode. No one picked Trick or Treat either. Play it in hard mode. Go.
Okay.
Can't pick Trick or Treat.
And I will bring the Halloween Hallmark movies because there's a few of them.
Before we let you go, Noah, as the expert to all things Hallmark,
Mhm.
when do last year's brand new Hallmark movies become available for purchase on streaming sites or DVD?
So funny enough, I've pre-ordered almost everything. So the first one comes out tomorrow, and I am getting it in the mail on Wednesday. It's a 9-movie collection, and they're mostly from last year, but the majority of them come out October 22nd, the 29th, and November 5th.
Okay. Is everything that came out last year going to be available this year on home video?
No. There's a few that have not been announced yet so far. I think they've released about, if I'm being generous, maybe about 25 out of the 42.
Okay, there's two I need. There's two
Mhm.
two I got to get my hands on. One for my wife more so than me, and one for me definitely.
Okay.
My wife loved the Biltmore one last year.
Okay.
She went nuts for that. Has that been announced?
No, but I have a feeling I know when that will be out. I think that there'll be a Walmart exclusive out on the 29th of this month or the 5th. One of those 2 days at Walmart for $9.96.
Okay, and the one I want to get my hands on is the Hanukkah one, Round and Round.
That one is coming out in a 6-film set and by itself.
Okay, I loved that
Um,
movie. I really dug that one.
The 6-film set comes with all Hanukkah films except for 2.
Okay.
And then that one is going to be $30, and that one comes out tomorrow. I personally didn't get that one just because I have all the other ones anyways. But the Round Around by itself is going to cost you $14.98 on Amazon, and it comes out the 29th.
Okay. I wonder if it's going to be available on like digital purchase, like Fandango at home.
It will be on that date. Yes.
Okay. All right. I really dug that one. That was Perp. It was a holiday Groundhog Day, and
Cool.
with a magic dreidel that makes you
Yep.
repeat the same day over and over again.
Hell yeah.
And it's charming.
They actually compare at one point they compare it to Superman turning the Earth backwards in Superman the movie. I'm like, oh my god, this movie just referenced the Superman, the original. I love that. It's so goofy.
I'd
But
watch
yeah,
it.
it was really good.
Well, one thing is if you get it by itself, it's a MOD, and if you get it with the 6-film set, it's going to be a press disc, and you're going to have 3 films on each disc. But I mean, that's up to you guys.
All right. I did find it on currently unavailable, but it's yeah, they have it listed on Fandango at home. So okay. All right.
Yep.
When this thing's available, I'm getting my hands on it. All right, guys. Thanks for being here. By the way, yeah, Charlotte says Perp, you and Homer have to be safe because you have a hurricane.
Yes.
So just
I'll do my best.
Yeah.
Be safe.
Thank you.
Yeah. Damn you, Grover Cleveland. I'm sure it's his fault somehow. I blame Grover Cleveland for everything.
I'm blaming Pat Sajak.
I'm blaming Joker too.
Yeah, it's probably Joker.
That's what Twitter told me to do.
It's probably Joker 2's fault. Yeah. But thank you, Butts Unplugged. No, you are awesome, Butts Unplugged.
It's
It's
one
awesome
thing
having
for
you
it's
on
one
screen.
thing for a director to like absolutely destroy and pee on a character. It's another thing to then say, "Yeah, that's not enough. I'm sending you a hurricane."
Skullman, by the way, says Patrick Stewart, or not Patrick Stewart, Patrick Bateman and Lou Bloom are his spirit animals. What if he said Patrick Stewart was his spirit animal? Hello.
It's only weird if you said
Patrick.
from Green Room.
And Skullman says Kubrick's Shining, Possession, Lighthouse, 3 greatest horror films of all time.
Sure.
Shining,
and-
I agree with.
And when Nolan makes one, it will be the Michael Jordan of the
I
genre.
like Zawalski's Possession.
Yeah.
That got a shot. That movie got a shout out in First Omen.
I like
He-
First Omen.
First Omen was
He-
awesome.
He technically did make a horror film with Oppenheimer. That was very scary and haunting. So that might be his horror movie.
And Moments of Batman Begins.
That dude Vince, I don't think I can agree with that. That dude Vince says that Charlotte is trying to dox people.
What?
I don't. Charlotte's a nice gal. We like Charlotte.
Don't dox me.
Yeah. I don't think anybody cares where I live. So. I don't think anyone cares enough to dox me. So anyway, but all right, guys, thanks for being here. We'll try to do this again next week. And until next time, keep wearing those pajamas.
Keep wearing those pajamas.
With the plastic feet.
Keep wearing those pajamas.
Tell everyone you meet.
Keep wearing those pajamas.
With the back door flap.
Keep wearing those pajamas.
Don't open it, it's a trap.
Oh no!
It's a trap. Some people call them bitches. Some people call them jammies. They can come embroidered with big money and no whammies. They can have 100 tiny commander adamas. But no matter how they look, just keep on wearing those pajamas.
Keep on wearing those pajamas. Keep wearing those pajamas.
I know we're having fun.
Keep wearing those pajamas.
And now the song is done.